Hello, and thank you for attending today's webinar, Shaping the Future of Drug Device Delivery, Strategic Insights from Industry Leaders, presented by Grand River Aseptic Manufacturing and Fierce Pharma. My name is Janelle Karimoto, and I will be moderating this webinar. Before we get started, here are a few housekeeping notes. To learn more about our speakers, please visit the speaker bio window. Additional resources can be found in the handouts window. If you accidentally close a window, you can reopen it by clicking its name in the top navigation bar. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand within 24 hours. And finally, feel free to submit your questions at any time using the Submit Questions window. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dennis Johnson, CEO of Grand River Aseptic Manufacturing, and Andre Yosef, President and General Manager at LTS Device Technologies. Dennis and Andre, welcome.
Thank you, Janelle.
So good to have both of you. So we're going to kick off the discussion. Anything you'd like to say about yourself or your companies before we go into our discussion topic?
No, really looking forward to this topic. It's very much a trending topic in our industry, and I think working with Andrea in the past, it's one that I'm, very much welcome having this opportunity to discuss with a larger audience.
Excellent.
I'm also looking forward for the discussion. I think for us, partnership in this field are very important because you cannot do it alone. So we'll be happy to share about the things we've done and the things we're going to do. So looking forward.
All right, let's jump into the first discussion topic. What initiatives address the market's specific requirements for patient-friendly administration of biologics?
This is definitely an increasing trend in our industry where we're seeing more and more patient-friendly administration or home use with the combination devices. And at Graham, we are leaning into this space, and we're investing heavily both in people and in capacity to meet the needs. When you look at this industry, it has some very specific requirements as combination medical devices, and our clients want quality, they want speed to market, and then they want capacity at commercial launch. And Graham is investing in both the people with the expertise as well as the equipment that's state of the art in order to meet the requirements of this very specific space.
If we're looking at the initiatives needed, biologics are increasing globally. You said it's a trend. We started in 2014. We were about 200 biological drugs in development. Now we already passed the 2,000 biological drugs in development. Those drugs have new needs. And those new needs require different devices, but also require different primary container. They're higher in volume, more viscous. So together with Graham, what we're doing, we are addressing these unique needs of biologics by providing higher volume of primary containers being filled, and also providing devices that enable us to push that treatment to home care, to patients in need, and actually do a type of revolution to this drug delivery field.
Thank you both. All right, how do drug delivery device partnerships improve the manufacturing process for customers?
Well, as Andrea has mentioned before, this is not something you can do by yourself from a CDMO perspective. But you need to have expertise in so many different areas. You need to have the delivery systems. But from a sterile fillers perspective, it's a field where there's much more complexity. There's a complexity from a regulatory perspective as a combination device. You're no longer just dealing with the drug regulations, of course, you're also dealing with the medical device regulations. And furthermore, there's complexity because you're going into a device and things that may be acceptable if you're dealing with a simple syringe in terms of resistance, in terms of the level of fill, in terms of bubble size, in terms of all those levels of complexity, they can impact how the device functions. So there's a lot more tolerances. And that relationship with the developer of the device is critical to have a successful product.
Our customers, in the end, they want something that will work at the highest quality with perfect results. And for that, you need a group of experts. As Danny said, a group of experts, each one expert in his own field. And there are many fields because, somebody is getting a drug. Behind the drug, there's not only the drug companies, there's the primary container companies, there's the filler, there's the rubber company, there's the device company, all of them expert in their own fields. But we together now, me and Dennis, we are actually doing something completely innovative. We are breaking the boundaries. So when we started working with Graham, we had a problem that currently on this planet had no solution. Nobody was able to fill a 20 ml cartridge. So we came to Graham and said, yes, let's be innovative, let's break boundaries. And together with this partnership, we broke those boundaries. We are completely innovating and we are bringing something new to the market.
I love that. All right, next discussion topic. How has the role of CDMOs evolved to provide greater value to pharmaceutical companies and their drug products?
There's been a large evolution. As Andrea mentioned, the number of molecules keep increasing. And I believe, obviously, that will continue. And the large pharmaceutical companies used to manufacture a lot of the internally, and small and medium-sized companies that couldn't afford the capital to set up their own plant would come to CDMOs. But that's shifting. And large companies are ever increasing wanting to better utilize their capital and the expertise of people that we have. When you look at a large pharma company, on average, there's 50 to 55 new drugs launched every year. And when you look at the number of pharmaceutical companies, the average is 1 to 2 drugs per company. As a CDMO, we will see the new drugs for multiple companies. It allows us to build the expertise to do rapid launches and tech transfers. It allows us to have the equipment for both small scale and large scale to transition to the commercial. I think as a CDMO, we can add a lot of value, and I'm seeing an ever increasing use. You see the large investments some pharmaceutical companies are making for some extremely high volume drugs, but many of those pharmaceutical companies are using CDMOs, especially on the development side. For every new drug launch, you're going to have hundreds of new drugs a year. It's about a 10% ratio of the drugs that are phase 1 make it to commercial. So when you look at the number of shots on goal that a pharmaceutical company has to make to get a commercial, they need the assistance, and that's where CDMOs and the expertise we provide partner with companies like LTS. That's where we can add a lot of value for them, so they can actually invest more in the development of new drugs.
The solution our customers or pharma companies are looking for is a solution that will allow them as a pharma company to focus on their expertise. And before, a decade ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they need to do everything or a lot of everything in order to bring a drug to market. But that's not their main business. Their core business is to develop new drugs and solve problems for their customers, which are the patients, by bringing new solutions. What we as CDMOs, as drug device companies, what we allow them is to focus on their strengths. And I think that's the biggest value for them, because we are coming here to solve something that is not their main business. They needed to do it in the past because they needed to do it. Nobody else was able to do it. Now there's an expert company like Graham saying, I will do it for you. I'll be the special one that will do it for multiple of your drugs. And we'll learn how to work together, and we'll keep solving your problems. You not need to go there on your own, and we'll be the expert in that. So by building separate fields of expertise in this business, the pharma company has more and more pillars of experts to rely on, and they can focus on their own. What we saw with the big pharma companies, that's exactly what they are doing. They are taking some of that burden that was in past on their back and moving it to us, because we are now becoming their experts. So they rely on us to bring them the solutions.
Excellent. And audience, I do see some good questions coming in so far. Feel free to submit your questions in the submit questions box as you think of them, and we will get to some audience questions in a bit. For now, our next discussion topic is what innovative approaches are shaping the future of biologic administration?
It's funny. You can't go through a half-hour presentation these days without talking about AI, right? But when you look at AI, it does have a lot of impact in our field, and I think it's in 2 areas. One is telemedicine. When you look at telemedicine and what the shift that you see, if you want some of the new GLP-1s, you can go on the web right now, and there's 12 or 13 companies that through scripts and online testing without a hospital visit or a doctor visit where you can get a prescription. That is something that I didn't see very much 10, 15, 20 years ago. But those telemedicines don't have the facilities to administer drugs. Those are often tied to home use products, right? And a lot of the newer, more innovative medicines and the biologics are going to be injectables and some in higher quantity. So I think that innovation in telemedicine is driving much more home use, and that's going to continue. And the other area where AI is impacting a lot is really the development for the pharmaceutical companies. And you see the number of molecules and the some of the areas such as oligonucleotides where you can get much more tailored medicines, where you get a lot more drugs that in the past maybe people couldn't afford to develop for an orphan drugs because there wasn't the base. But with that innovation, what I'm seeing is an increasing amount of need for very specific patient groups, the ability to tailor medicine in terms of the length of administration and the quantity of the administration. I think all of that is having a large impact on biologics administration, especially for home use.
For us, specifically on the biological administration, what happened with the innovation in biologics, in the biological drugs, is some of those patients that 20 years ago were really sick people and they had a disease or that was diagnosed that we know where it's going to end, now become chronic patients. So they have this chronic disease, this being treated by a biological drug, and they have a full life to live with that chronic disease. Therefore, they did not want to be sick patients. So I understand 20 years ago, with the same condition, you were a very sick person, everybody was treating you that way. But today, if you get biologics, you don't want to be sick. You want to feel free and you want to be feeling healthy. So what we used to do, treating those patients in hospitals, which is not the place that you want to take healthy people to, or people that are going chronic medication to, because there are all kinds of bacteria, fungi, all kinds of things in a hospital. We want to avoid it. We're trying to push them to a normal life. They want a normal life. We want them to have a normal life. So we want to move that administration of the biologics to home care, to a type of daycare, something that they will feel more comfortable with. They will not feel sick while receiving the medication. It will become part of their life. So where innovations come into the picture, it comes with the drug delivery devices, which are completely changing now. The drug delivery devices that we used 20 years ago, passé, we need something new. We need a revolution. So here where the large volume is coming into play, and now those patients are able to receive medication at the comfort of their home, whenever they want it, without disturbing the day-to-day, without disturbing their life. So I think the advantages of innovation coming to the drug delivery, together with the innovation of biologics, will allow those patients to be chronic patients, yes, but on the other hand, to have a normal life. So innovation is driving it to a place where they are not sick anymore. At least they don't feel sick anymore.
All right. Excuse me. From the CDMO side and drug innovator side, what does it look like to provide value to your pharmaceutical customers in today's world?
I think our clients, they want quality first and foremost, and better technology. And as capabilities have gotten better, the bar is going up, right? When you look at the industry many years ago, we would be filling in a certain state. Now we're doing, we're much more an isolator. We're going automatic load into LIO if necessary. So we're doing things in a much more automated fashion, and the bar quite rightfully keeps raising as the technology gets better, and making sure you're able to maintain the first pass here. So the first thing is you got to have quality, which means you got to have the right people and the right equipment, and it's got to be modern equipment. What was being used for filling 10, 15, 20 years ago probably is hard to hit today's standards, which is a good thing, to see the standards continually increase. But it means you have to keep up with the equipment and invest in the equipment. Second, you need speed to market. If you're one of our clients and you're coming to us, you're going to want to get your product in clinic. You want to get data very quickly as you can. And then you want to be able to commercially launch it, which means you need someone who has a capacity and ability to deliver for commercial. So those are the things that for me are really critical. And I think the partnerships we have with LTS, the ability to move quickly into a home delivery type of mechanism and then transition that to commercial is something our clients are looking for.
I will echo your words, Dennis. It's exactly what they need. They need quality and time. And together with the partnership, what we're able to do, we're able to deliver on both. So we are synchronizing between us in order to make sure that our partners, or our customer in this case, are getting quality and time and quality in this device, because in the end, you send it home, there cannot be a failure. There's nothing else to use. It needs to be perfect on first go. Therefore, quality is crucial. If I look at my customers, there is a second level of the customers, which is the customers of my customers, which actually is the patients. So for the patients, we are giving them, in a way, their life back, because we are giving them a device which is extremely easy to use. It's like a Band-Aid. It's peel and stick. And for them to take control over their condition, take it over to their own hands, it's important, it's crucial. So now it comes again to quality. So they get a quality device on time, and the customer of the customer, the patient, is able to take control. So together, I think that my customers and Dennis' customers, which is in the end the same one, is getting a value by providing to his customers a better solution.
Okay, I think I caught all of that. We're breaking up a little bit, but I think we got all your words. We do have one more discussion topic to go, and then we're going to jump into our seed questions. So for this last topic, what is the future of large volume?
Well, it's large. No, all kidding aside, I think a large volume is there and will continue to be there, and it's critical. But it's interesting. I see both large volume and small volume increasing. So the number of molecules in small volume are increasing rapidly as the technology for the development changes. And some of the technology such as that is more tailored and targeted, almost personalized medicine. So you get smaller batches and more molecules. At the same time, you get a handful of molecules that are extremely high volume. And we saw that with vaccines during COVID, and vaccines continue to be extremely high volume. We see it with GLP-1s. But at the very same time, the number of small targeted orphan drugs that we weren't able to treat in the past with the old technology is increasing. So as a CDMO, what I see is demand for high volume, but at the same time, a demand for high mix, where there's a lot of molecules coming in that may be more targeted as well. So we as a CDMO have to be able to handle both those outcomes.
Specifically on the large volume, high volumes are increasing. We saw it, as I said, in the pandemic. As well today, some of the drugs are just demanding huge volumes, and it's not only one CDMO providing, maybe multiple CDMOs. But also there's the large volume of the medication itself. Some of the drugs that we are dealing with today are 20 ml, 25 ml, 18 ml. Those are volumes that we never talked about in the past. For a subcutaneous infusion, it was not even imaginable. But with the development of the biological drugs need it. They cannot be concentrated to a small volume. The proteins, the molecules will be damaged. So they need the large volume. And this is when we talked about innovation, we talked about, breaking the current, records or doing something new. This is exactly the first point that we tackled. Nobody was able to fill those large volume cartridges. And Graham, they took the challenge. They were the first one that did it, and they're doing it now. And there will be more and more cartridges filled for large volume as a future, because this is a demand from the biologics. It's not coming from us. It's coming from the pure biological factor from the drug. Their large volume will not be able to change it. And those large volume will actually drive large volume of manufacturing together with the large volume of infusion. It was a new challenge. And again, thank you, Graham, for meeting the challenge. For us, when we were innovating, it was amazing to see how Graham jumped in and said, we'll innovate together with you. It was a huge challenge, and they made it. They made it happen.
That's excellent. There is an audience question that kind of relates. What types of primary containers are needed for large volume injection?
Andrew, you want to take that one?
Yeah, of course. So large volume injection currently, we see a big trend going to large volume cartridges, which is quite new for this field. We were used to up to 3 ml cartridge. And now what we see, again, together with Graham, we see 10 ml cartridges, 5 ml cartridges, 20 ml cartridges, all that in the last 2 years. It was not there before. So that's a huge trend going on to the large volume cartridges. In addition to that, we see large volume vials that are coming. Last is large volume filling of non-glass, like COC or COP primary containers, but those are the niche. I would say the biggest one that is coming is the large volume cartridges. And again, Graham there is the leader, and they're currently the biggest filler for that.
All right, I'm going to switch over to a question that I'm pretty sure is for Dennis. In the meantime, Andre, can you check your data rate or refresh your browser? We can make sure we get stable audio. Dennis, one question that came in, how are you adapting to tariffs?
Well, there's a couple different things on the tariff front. I think we also buy internationally, right? A lot of our equipment is manufactured international. So we have had to time, our equipment purchases based on tariffs. Sometimes there's been some increases, but we've also seen a very positive aspect from our business. We're U.S. based. We're in the Grand Rapids area, and when you look at our business, there is a lot of demand right now for a variety of reasons. But there is some that from pharmaceutical companies that are trying to make sure that they have a base in the U.S. for their filling as well. So from a tariff perspective, there's some challenge in timing our equipment purchases, but overall it's been a positive in terms of our clients wanting to have a base in the U.S.
From that aspect, we as we are currently not manufacturing in the U.S. that specific product, we are now establishing a new facility in Westcote, New Jersey, in order to make sure that we have a footprint from manufacturing that specific product in the U.S. We have other sites in the U.S. manufacturing different products, but what we are doing as LTS, actually, we are moving into the United States, all the manufacturing, so we'll be able to avoid tariff when needed. Again, for us, it's very good. Second footprint, another manufacturing site, better for our customers that are asking for it, but also better for us as a company to have, second source for everything.
All right, let's go to the next question. I'm not sure who, I'm assuming this is for Andre, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is your device on the market today?
Yes, my device is on the market today. We are currently, as far as I know, the biggest wearable manufacturer on the planet, and we are very proud of it. We have a device on the market and more to come. And again, it's with our loyal partners. It's never an easy way to get to the market, but the moment you are there to stay. And again, amazing result from that device. And hopefully soon, together with Graham, we'll have our common device on the market.
Okay. What are the typical roadblocks to getting to clinic?
In terms of getting to clinic, obviously the clinical data has to be good on the phase 1 and 2 to progress. But it's a challenging supply chain. When you do something for the first time, you need the API, you need the drug, you need to get it filled, you need to get it assembled, you need the devices, and you need to get it packed out into the clinic. And when you look at that supply chain, it's for low volumes, and you're trying to go as quickly as you can. So the challenge is often organizing that supply chain. And the more you have integrated pieces, where you can get a lot of it consolidated and coordinated for you. I think that helps in that effort. And I think that's where the partnership that we have with LTS can help on OBIs getting into the clinic quickly because of our relationship and prior expertise. But if you come up with something unique and you don't have the change parts and you don't have the equipment, it can take you a year to get that equipment. It can hold up getting to clinic. So it's a complex supply chain, and you need that's as many a piece of that supply chain to be fit together in a way that it will work well together without taking a lot of your time and involvement.
Andre, do you have any insight on that one, or do you want me to go to the next question?
I will echo Dennis. I think
A little bit of feedback.
I'll go inside. I will echo Dennis' answer as well. It's all about supply chain.
All righty. Poor audio. I'm going to wait 1 second. I'm not sure. Well, Dennis, let me know if this one's for Andre. What is the biggest challenge in OBI development? How can pharma companies mitigate this?
I think that's one that's probably a little bit better for Andre.
Okay, perfect. Yes. Welcome back. We have a question in here for you. What is the biggest challenge in OBI development? How can pharma companies mitigate this?
So first of all, I'll touch the previous question as well. I want to echo Dennis. In the end, supply chain is a challenge. And in order to be able to cope with that challenge supply chain, because there are many, many players, you need to build strategic partnerships. And if you try to do your part the best way you can, and you're just a link in the chain, this chain is part of the supply chain, it's very risky because every chain is alone. What you do, you build these partnerships, which are strategic for you and strategic for a customer, for the pharma company. They know that we are working together with Graham. We look at each other's results. We look at each other's processes. We work together that they will be able to obtain the best results. Therefore, I think strategic partnerships are crucial, and that will help us meet always the timelines. Can you repeat now the second question, please?
Of course. What is the biggest challenge in OBI development? How can pharma companies mitigate this?
The biggest challenge in OBI development is time. What happens to us many times is the pharma is coming, they need a device tomorrow or in a month. That doesn't work like this. Time is needed in order to develop the mutual documentation, the mutual verification, the mutual work, the partnerships I was talking about. And I think this is the biggest challenge. If we get enough time, 9 months, before we need to go to clinic, that will be good enough for us to provide perfect results. Our biggest challenge is when you get short on time, than the 9 months.
I think the other thing to keep in mind is on OBI, they're combination devices. They're more complex. And so all the elements have to work together well. It's kind of like an engine. You can't have one cylinder misfiring. And Andre and LTS, as professionals in the space, will work on the viscosity and the design of the device and the cartridge. But on our end, how we fill the tolerances available and those type of things, it has to come together for the device to work well. So there's considerations that are outside of normal filling of a vial that are impacted on OBIs.
We rely on Graham performance for our device to work. The customer relies on both Graham and us together for the patient to get the medication. So this chain goes all the way. Everybody relies on each other.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, I do see one inquiry from the audience asking if this will be available on demand. Again, yes, it will be available on demand within 24 hours, and you can access it with the same link that you used for today, and feel free to share the registration page with anybody else you would think would like this content. Next question, what are the biggest regulatory challenges you face in manufacturing, and how do you ensure compliance while maintaining efficiency?
There's no single biggest challenge, but there's trends in the industry. And the bar is constantly getting raised, and that's a really positive thing. I, for one, believe that it is an incredibly positive thing that we're getting better. And as we get better, the expectations raise. I think when you look now at some of the expectations that are out there in terms of how you maintain sterility in an isolator, it's definitely more challenging than it was a few years ago. And you have to have the trained personnel and the modern equipment that can handle that. So I do think that one of the challenges is it's constantly innovating. It's a positive challenge, but it also comes with always having to be improving and not be satisfied with where you're at, because the bar is increasing, and I'm glad it's increasing. It's the right thing for patients. It's the right thing for the industry.
Yes, the bar is increasing nonstop. And also, specifically in our field, we are innovators. Sometimes we are innovating also for the regulation. So new regulation is being written, and actually the regulation depends on what we are doing. So actually, we are raising the bar ourselves on one hand, but also from our innovation, the regulator sees new things, he needs new consideration. So especially for us, it's completely new. So there is a lot of work between us, for example, and the FDA, how to obtain regulatory approval for our devices, because it's novel for them as well. 20 ml cartridge, it's novel for them as well. So this common work together with the regulator, which is, it's our device, we need to pass them, we need to work together with them to make sure the device is approved, and also keep increasing the bar because we want better for our patients. So that's the biggest challenge, how to do innovative stuff in a moving target, in a moving market, while you try still to raise the bar.
All right. I see one more question in there. Audience, feel free to throw in any last minute questions you might want answered. How do you attract and retain top talent in such a competitive industry?
Well, at Graham, we have the advantage and disadvantage in being in an area that is that there's not that much sterile filling in. So I think one of the things when we ramp up, and we have to ramp up well in advance, we get a very high retention rate. People want to stay with us. We make sure we offer competitive salaries for the area, and we make sure that people have progression opportunities in the field. But it is something you have to look well ahead in your staffing. It's a very specific field. Even if you're working small molecule or other drugs and making tablets or other things, your experience doesn't necessarily port over easily. And where you may be able to get an operator to run a press and have them trained up in a month, in terms of running one of our lines, we're looking 6 to 12 months in advance, and making sure we have partnerships with local colleges and training. So the getting the right skill set is critical to what we do, both in project management, tech transfer, understanding the regulatory environment from a quality perspective. So it's a challenging area, but I think we're really proud of how well we've done it. And we've done it just as Andrea was talking about partnerships. We have partnerships with the local area, local universities in our community. And I think that has done very well for us.
For us, it is a challenge because of the timelines. Like, you start working on a project and you'll see your product on the market in a few years. So you don't have the immediate satisfaction from doing your work. It takes time to you to obtain the immediate satisfaction and see what you're doing. But the vision, on the other hand, is amazing. The vision you have, you are actually helping patients. So when you are joining us, you should be able to join the vision. We are going to help patients. We are helping, 250,000 patients a year now already, and we'll do more and more and more. It's not only the patients, it's their families. So if you join the vision, if you join the dream, it's not very complicated to keep you involved, because you see what you are doing. You see the impact on the most important part of our life, which is the life itself. So I think the vision is the main key for us to retain those employees and keep them on board and keep them engaged, and keep them dreaming of what we can do and how far we can go.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you both so much for your time and your insights today. Audience, thanks for your engagement, and we will follow up with any of the extra questions that you might have. You can also reach out to either company or speaker. I noticed we've got their LinkedIn profiles in the handouts area. And just a reminder, a recording of this session will be available on demand within 24 hours. Have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and we will see you next time.
Thank you very much.